So maintaining healthy profit margins in an environment of rising costs, such as material costs and labor costs, requires smarter pricing decisions and supply chain diversifications. Relying on a handful of suppliers exposes manufacturers to cost volatility, capacity shortages, and delivery delays. So diversification is not just about risk mitigation. It's also about reshaping the cost structure by sourcing competitively and creating a leverage to influence pricing and stay competitive to customers and in the marketplace. Yeah, talking about cost plus models, as we know, it's getting increasingly inadequate in today's volatile market. Material prices fluctuate continuously, in addition to all the changes around tariffs and other marketing volatility factors. And online marketplaces are driving greater price transparency today, which also makes a cost plus pricing a little bit outdated in today's market. Um, 8 out of 10 manufacturers raised prices in 2025 and similarly and expect a similar kind of price increase in 2026. Manufacturers are realizing that the success doesn't lie in passing the cost to the customers, but in restructuring the pricing models around flexibility, transparency, and value. Pricing innovation must be supported by a cost structure that enables healthy margins, not the other way around. And to do that, we have to think more in lines of market-informed pricing, which is essentially doing real-time pricing adjustments to reflect positioning against competitors, address shifts in supply, demand, and capacity utilization, and also how we can tailor the pricing by customer segments by understanding how their responsiveness or elasticity vary with time. There are other ways also we can think about pricing, which we probably know about value-based pricing, where we can focus on the differentiating factors against the competitors in the market, and we can set the prices based on the value we deliver to our customers, whether it's faster lead times, specialized quality, or certification. But key here is to evolve the cost structure that can support and give leverage for pricing competitively in the market. The price should be determined by the market, and the sourcing cost, sourcing structure, or supplier diversification should support that so that we can maintain healthy margin, not the other way around as it's done by the cost plus model. Yeah, in recent times, I think maintaining a competitive pricing advantage without degrading margin when there's so much of volatility around the cost, material cost, labor cost, or tariffs, that's been a challenge for most of us. Um, and at the same time, there's a lot of transparency around how different players are pricing with marketplaces and digital quoting. Um, Different pricing structures by competitors is more visible. So there is always an increasing pressure how we can stay competitive in terms of pricing without eroding the margins. Yeah, to address some of these above challenges, we need technology investment, uh, whether in sourcing, procurement, or how we think about supply diversification. Technology investment along with supply diversification can actually help manufacturers be flexible regarding sourcing, adjusting suppliers, materials, or designs to dial in the right price, making our pricing dynamic, data driven to react quickly to cost and demand changes, and backing it up with marketplace intelligence to benchmark prices continuously, identify opportunities, and optimize margins will be the key here. Based on some of the survey results, we have more than 80% of our manufacturing players uh, expressed interest in using partners or technology to help with pricing challenges, which goes with the theme that we need to find a technology-oriented solution to drive supply diversification. And that's the way to handle some of these challenges around pricing. Yeah, so tariffs for challenges for manufacturers is essentially driving up the input costs, making it harder for manufacturers to optimize both costs and supply chain robustness. Companies are rethinking about their global supply dependencies, with two-thirds of our manufacturers reporting that tariffs have accelerated their reshoring efforts. We face a constant trade-off in terms of how to absorb higher costs, uh, pass them on to customers, or reconfigure our sourcing footprint. So that's kind of a constant trade-off we have to always optimize for. Yeah, in terms of diversification of supply chain and how it protects against the risks of geopolitical uncertainty, um, it definitely helps us or protects against tariffs and supply shocks. But managing multiple suppliers across regions also introduces risks. Um, those risks could be in terms of geopolitical instability, compliance complexity, regulatory requirements, or logistic challenges. The solution here is not just more suppliers, it's smarter supplier diversification enabled by modern procurement tools or technology usage. Being nimble and agile to respond to these supply shocks and optimize in real time to address some of these shocks will be key. So to summarize, the we all know that tariffs are reshaping our sourcing strategies, pushing companies towards reshoring and smarter diversification. And that's where we have to be mindful about how we think about being agile and fast responsive to address some of these challenges. The most important thing for manufacturers to ensure success in 2026 will be modernizing their procurement process. As we talked a bit about supplier chain diversification, um, today the sourcing process is extremely manual and fragmented. How we can move from that current state to a more AI driven platforms and digital marketplaces to streamline supplier onboarding, selection, and performance monitoring, that will be key. It will also help diversify supply chains with expanded supply networks to reduce dependency on any single region while leveraging modern tools to manage risk, compliance, and quality. To summarize, modernized procurement and digital supply chain diversification will define or redefine manufacturing success in 2026 with so much of volatility going around. Yeah, Geometry is uniquely positioned to help buyers and suppliers in their pricing and sourcing challenges. For buyers, Geometry connects manufacturers to a global distributed network of vetted suppliers across processes, geographies, and materials. This instantly diversifies supply chains without the overhead of onboarding dozens of vendors. By tapping into the underutilized capacity in our network, buyers can always lower their production cost, access to competitive pricing bids, and eventually strengthen their pricing power. Um, Xometry effectively gives manufacturers a dynamic supplier base that fixes or that flexes or changes with demand while improving cost resilience. For suppliers, on the other side, the platform matches them to jobs that fit their capacity and capabilities. So increasing that helps them increase machine utilization and hence revenue. And suppliers also gain access to these high intent leads without spending a lot on marketing. So by connecting a global network of buyers and suppliers, so Geometry is creating this unique and dynamic environment where supply and demand meet efficiently, balancing cost, capacity, and quality. It simplifies sourcing and pricing for both buyers and suppliers and delivers a ton of transparency, efficiency, and margin optimization across our entire network.